Welcome back to Hot Tea with Alex. Another hot take today. Because I have realized, I've just finished Stellar Blade today on stream, the PC version that is. And while I was doing it, while I was playing this on stream, I was also always checking the Miranda. You should definitely check her out, great channel. She does all playthroughs for these games. And she did this like a year ago when Stellar Blade first came out for PlayStation 5. And I noticed something there at the end because, spoiler, as I mentioned before, spoiler alert, if you haven't played through the game yet, close this video, alright? If you know how it ends, in the end you can choose, right? If you fuse with Adam as Eve or not. And from what I've seen, most people took quite some time to actually make that choice. Miranda didn't. She was just straight for, no, man, we're not gonna fuse at all. And I'm just gonna play it so you see it yourself.
Eve, take my hand. I can save you. We can save each other. We could save everyone.
Don't give me that smolder. Stop. 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 Take Adam's hand. Do not take Adam's hand. Well, sir, after everything you have done, whatever you thought we had, gone. No more.
Now, my reaction was a little bit different. First of all, I took quite some time to actually figure out all the possibilities left and right before I made my decision, even though I knew I will eventually play through all the endings. But still. And I then came to a realization, subconsciously or not, and that is, this is actually then also what Eve said when you choose this ending to fuse with Adam. And she says herself, because Eve obviously intervenes as well. Not Eve, Lily. And then she says, if we have to kill off an entire species, is that really salvation? Right? So she's again sacrificing herself and letting go of all her grudges and hatred to become something higher. And this has such a deep meaning on so many layers, especially also for your personal development. But I want to touch on the male and female today, because you might have noticed, right? You might have noticed that there is a gender war happening, right? Between the two genders. And yes, there's only two genders. I'm not going to go into this here at all. There's man and woman. And both genders have been at each other's throats for decades even now, I would say. But it's especially tough in recent years. And it was even in the comments on her video that, I guess, man said it's very sad that she chose this ending, but at the same time, women just don't trust men anymore. That's what one guy commented below. And I noticed that this is very true. And it's due to, in part, of feminism, which in its initial idea was totally fine, but it went way overboard. But also from the past, obviously, of men and the patriarchy and all this, degrading women to just being there for children and cooking, right? And both genders have way more to give than just that. But it made me realize that Stellar Blade, or the devs, intentionally or not, I cannot say, but they actually are trying to get rid of this gender war. Because, or I guess this scenario is doing that, because if you choose to fuse, nice rhyme there by the way, if you choose to fuse with Adam, so the perfect feminine, which is Eve, which is why she's called Eve, the first woman, the perfect woman, right? And the perfect man, which is why he's called Adam. And I think it even makes sense also from another level, because the male is the Naitiba, right? Which is a very brutish, brutal, low vibrational, even I would say force. Very powerful and strong, but he has overcome these lower instincts. He even said it himself. So he has ascended as a man. So he has become the divine masculine. This is also why he has angel wings, and he actually has white and gold thingies down here, right? And these wings, because he has ascended already. And Eve, on the other hand, is the perfect feminine, right? She's not just visually perfect, as you can tell she is, because she was created that way. She's also compassionate, nurturing, loving, caring. All the traits we love in women, right? Like in the divine feminine we want. If, for example, I mentioned this in another video, if women just use their sexuality for power and control and domination, as they do these days, not just in media where they are half naked, but also in the relationships where it's just to control the husbands or boyfriends, then this is the shadow side of the feminine. This is what people also call toxic femininity. I call it the shadow side because I think that's better. But she is the divine feminine. She's also divine. She also has ascended. She is obviously a robot, but she's trying to be human as much as possible. So she's really trying to put her humanity first wherever possible, even though she's not even human, right? And then when these two fuse together, right, the perfect masculine and the perfect feminine, they become much bigger than they were before. And you can tell because then you will literally become the angel and have the fusion mode, which is like superb. You are invincible, you don't lose energy, you can do these attacks unlimited times. So that's a great metaphor for what happens if men and women actually work together instead of against each other. The same we see in marriages, right? When the two actually look into the same direction, going forward on a straight path instead of just fighting each other all the time. Because that obviously doesn't work. Deadpool, by the way, with us today, right? So, what I realized there is, and Miranda didn't realize it because she obviously didn't trust Adam anymore. But due to her choice, an entire species was killed off, no matter how primitive that species might be, and all the bad things that species might have done, right? Killed a lot of people. But then again, the Nativas also are underneath humans, right? We learned this in the game. But due to her lack of trust in the man in this case, she killed off an entire species. And in the other ending, both species survive. Which is another great showcase or metaphor, if you want, that if man and woman work together, then species can survive. Things can survive. People can become better than they are. And I don't blame her, by the way, at all, like Miranda, which she's never going to watch this, but I'm not blaming her for that because I totally understand it. But it also means there are consequences to these decisions, that we don't trust the other gender anymore. And trust me, I should know, because as I mentioned before, I'm not going to go into detail on this, after 12 years of relationship and 8 years of marriage, 9 years actually, my wife cheated on me with some dude twice while I was taking care of our son at home. He was 4 years old at the time. So trust me when I know how it feels to be on the betrayed side of things, and how it is, how you actually have to learn to trust the other gender again after what she did. So of course, initially I absolutely hated all women for doing this, right? But I had to realize that one, that not all women are like this. This might just be a bad example of the female persuasion, if you want. And the other thing is, if you hold grudges, that doesn't actually hurt the other person. It only hurts yourself. I noticed this myself very much, because I was in this negative energy all the time. I was hating her and women for that matter, that they could do this, right? That you could do this to someone who truly loves you, that you are capable of this. Because at the same time, Jordan Peterson said this greatly, it means that you are capable of this as well, because you're just human. And in both the right circumstances, you could probably do the same. Even though I claim that I could never do this, I don't know, if I would have been raised differently, maybe I could have done something like that. Maybe I did in a past life, who knows, and this is my karma. But that's the point. It doesn't do good if we hold grudges, because that is just negative energy. It just makes things worse. And as tough as it may be, and trust me, I've noticed this myself, if you forgive the people, and this is what Adam actually said, he wants atonement and forgiveness. He wants to heal. So he really has ascended over all the bad things he did. And yes, he did a lot of bad things, and he used Eve a lot there, and God knows why. he did this, why he sort of set this all up for her to go through this. We don't know, it was never mentioned in the game as far as I know. He just wanted forgiveness, right? And move on from that. So basically, he was hoping that Eve would see, or Miranda for that matter, would see him as he is right now, not who he was, because he has grown out of that. And if people don't grow out of this, you shouldn't, I mean, you should forgive them because it doesn't help you, but you don't have to stay around them, right? That's important. So I don't want to tell you that you should stay in abusive relationships or whatnot. I had divorced her, right? Obviously, because she didn't change. So what was my point then staying in this? But I forgave her as a person because I knew it wouldn't help me at all going forward to have these grudges. And it's the same here. Adam had grown. He just wanted to become human again, really. He wanted to let go of that false self of the Naytiba he was and wanted to become whole and one again with human and machine all together, basically. To create a better human in the end process. But he was denied because of his past, right? And again, I'm not telling people what they should be doing with their lives, but if we can forgive people and move on and actually see the great in people, even if they did many bad things, then we actually find the source of what we are. Human. We find humanity. We find that we all make mistakes all the time, right? Now, some mistakes, of course, are unforgivable. And maybe some people shouldn't be forgiven. Fine. This depends on the situation. But I was just using this now as a metaphor for how men and women have been interacting with each other. Because as a man, these days, especially with the media and all that, you feel like you are just constantly on trial just for being a man, right? That women just hate you due to what men did in the past, what our ancestors did. But, and especially me as a German, I know this very much because everyone sees me as a Nazi immediately if I say something that is not super liberal, right? If I say that illegal immigrants should not be in this country, then I'm Hitler too, basically, right? So I know how this feels, absolutely, as a man and as a German. But especially men these days, due to our past, we are scolded for this all the time. But men do the same to women, right? If they have a bad past, so to speak, they immediately say these are not wife material anymore. And there's certainly something to it, right? And if people don't actually change, and you can tell that it didn't change, again, don't stick with them. But I like this in this game because this was a great showcase of the benefits of forgiveness. This is what I loved so much there. And again, I understand Miranda totally because of everything that is in the media and all that. Maybe she has her own issues from the past with men. I don't know, but she jumped to that conclusion very fast. She didn't even hesitate. She just went straight for, nah, man, no way. And I haven't actually watched the ending of that video yet because I don't want to spoil that ending to me. I still have to play through the endings on stream. But that actually had me think. She didn't even think about it, right? It was just immediate, impulsive, emotional decision due to what he did. Instead of thinking, maybe I could be the better person here and actually forgive the other guy, even though to all the bad things he did. And again, I don't know if I would have done it if the genders were reversed. I don't know. After all, it took me a few months to fully forgive my ex-wife for doing that. So again, I get it. But I just wanted to showcase the greatness that comes from that if we actually focus on the good in people instead of the negative. And Stellar Blade is actually showing this greatly. And I truly think, intentionally or not, they wanted to showcase that men and women operate better if they work together. And this is what your fusion mode actually is. I called it the angel mode. It's a Taki mode with unlimited energy pretty much. But it's the angel mode, right? Fusion mode. And if both genders work together as a team with a common goal, then species can survive, cities can survive, people can come together. And Stellar Blade is greatly showing this. That things can actually be better if we work together. And it's very awesome. I like this a lot. So there is no grand meaning to this video here. I just wanted to showcase that Stellar Blade is doing this. And that the game is so much deeper than people give it credit for. It has such a deep meaning to it. And this is a high-level, high-consciousness story, actually. Again, in the description below, there's a book I would highly recommend for anyone watching. It's called Between Death and Life by Dolores Cannon. This will get you into a rabbit hole you will never get out of. Trust me on that. Because I'm still in it, like 10 years later. Truly 10 years, actually, now. It is crazy, and this explains literally everything why we are here, for example. But also, what happens after death and all these kind of things. So, this is a great showcase of what a high-level story can make in a game that looks just very surface level, but it's so much deeper. And I want you to just think about it. Choice you made at the end of Stellar Blade, and what it actually had as consequences, because the game shows that actually quite greatly, what the consequences of that are. So, just think about that. Just ponder a little bit. That's it. These videos, our hot tea with Alex, they don't necessarily have a deep meaning to it. It's just to ponder on things and discuss topics. Right? That's it. I see you in the next video.